as that peso has now breached the 59 per dollar mark, its weakest level on record. Investors are reacting to slower growth expectations, corruption allegations hitting market sentiment, and signals of further monetary easing. The Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas says that it will let the market forces drive the currency, intervening only to smooth volatility and dampen inflationary pressures, not to defend a specific level. This slide comes even as holiday remittances typically support the peso, raising questions about how deep the pressure really is. Joining us now via Zoom is RCBC's chief economist, Michael Ricafort. Hi, Mike. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Mikey, and to our viewers. Nice to be back.
Mike, the peso usually strengthens during this time of the year. It's remittance season with the holidays approaching, yet it's fallen to a record low, even amid solid fundamentals. Is this a reflection of just how much market sentiment has been damaged by all the corruption controversies and by the political uncertainty that comes with it?
Yeah, that's number one, Mikey. The political noise since last month, most especially. That's the main factor that led to the dollar peso to break above 59. Although today it's relatively stable, around 59.14 after reaching an intraday high few minutes ago at 59.26. Yesterday it was 59.14. So 59.13 rather. Now at 59.14. So it's still relatively stable. We have to take note that 59 has been respected for more than 3 years. The last time we saw 59.00 was December 19, 2024, before Christmas last year. And, you know, that was back then, it was a Trump factor. Now, it ended the year at in 2024 at 57.845. So that's the peso strengthened by more than a peso because of the remittances during the Christmas season back then. So,
Mike, given everything that's going on, the corruption allegations, the cuts in government spending, and the BSP's dovish stance, is the momentum there for the peso perhaps to reach the 60 to the dollar level over the near to medium term?
It won't be that easy, Mikey, because the local monetary authorities, they have a good track record in stabilizing the peso. As mentioned, 59.00 has been respected for more than 3 years in September of 2022. Prior to that, for 18 long years, from 2004 to 2022, around August of 2022, it was capped at 56.50. So there's the track record. That's one. Second, the gross international reserves are relatively high at 109 billion. That's equivalent to more than 7 months worth of imports. And that's double compared to the international threshold of 3 to 4 months. So there's more than enough buffer, cushion, and ammunition to stabilize the dollar peso. Because, the policy priority since the latter part of 2022 is to stabilize or to better manage inflation. And that would require a relatively stable peso because the Philippines is a net importing country. It imports, the trade deficit last year, meaning the excess of goods imports versus goods exports, it's 54 billion. That's the net imports or the trade deficit.
Mike, I just want to come in there. If the peso stays around these levels, what's the likely impact on inflation, consumer prices, and the outlook for the rest of the year?
Well, there could be some pick up in importation costs, but it's relatively manageable, as I mentioned. Some pick up in importation costs. Usually, of course, we import a lot of goods like oil. The country imports almost all of its oil requirements, equipment, vehicles, and many other consumer goods. So there could be some slight pick up in the import prices and some pickup in overall inflation, and that could be passed. That's the reality. And of course, the debt of the government, some of them in US dollars, so come debt servicing, both interest and especially principal, if there's a need to pay already those dollar-denominated loans as they come due. So the peg now is at more than 59. So it would be more expensive already to service those debt using pesos because the primary source of revenues is taxes collected in pesos. So
that's right. Yeah, the sustained peso depreciation, that's going to strain public sector finances, and that's going to hurt the balance sheets of companies. Apart from the, importation costs, it's going to increase importation costs. I want to ask you about this in the context of monetary policy, Mike. The BSP has cut policy rates by a total of 175 basis points since August of 2024. The key rate is now down at 4.75% as of the last October meeting. The December meeting is in the offing. The expectations are for another 25 bips cut. How much has this, these expectations for more easing hurt the local currency?
Yeah, partly, Mikey, in recent months, because the interest differential now within the Fed rate is doing at 4.25 at the upper range. The BSP policy rate is at 4.75. So it's at the narrowest ever. Yes, it may have partly contributed the narrower interest differential because yeah, because the advantage of the peso in terms of higher interest rate has been reduced in recent months and years. So that's one of the contributory factors, yes, but maybe to a lesser extent. But going forward, um, well, the tact would be, well, the Fed in a few hours is expected to cut rates by 0.25. So it will be down to 4%. So the differential is back to 75 basis points. And another Fed rate cut is expected come December 10 of this year. So it would be down to 3.75. So, well, the BSP is expected to match those and maintain the healthy interest rate differential, currently at the record low of 50 basis points. But going forward, it would neutralize itself. It's more of the same already. Everything has been priced in as far as the narrow interest differential is concerned. So going forward, it's really what would really improve sentiment because our economic fundamentals are still
intact.
relatively attractive. Yeah, we're still among the fastest growing economy. The corporate sales and earnings still post, well, the biggest companies, the biggest conglomerates, they still have sales growth, income growth, and that would fundamentally support higher valuation. But look at the PSEI, it has been stuck at 5,900 levels because the missing, well, amid record high US stock markets, record high stock markets also in Japan, in Europe, the rest of Asia. So the disconnect now is large disconnect between the favorable fundamentals of the country and the performance of the markets. It's because of the political noise. So governance now is very important because global investors and regulators, they've been encouraging the adherence to ESG standards because adherence to ESG standards
Mike,
leads good business.
Mike, thank you so much. That's all the time we have for this, but really appreciate your thoughts. Mike Ricafort, Chief Economist of RCBC Bank.
Thank you so much, Mike, and your viewers. Good morning.